All right, welcome on into another week of Whether or Not, sponsored by Ford, as you see here. I hope you've had a great week to this point and continue to have a great rest of the week. All right, now it says whether or not, and a lot of times I talk mainly weather topics, but this week is the not portion of the weather topic. I'd like to bring in my guest host today, John Decker. John Decker is the golf director of instruction at Medallion Club in and around the Columbus, Ohio area. I've had John on my podcast before. Welcome back, John. How are you today?
God, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
No, you're very welcome. Actually, you know, the reason there's a couple of reasons why I have you on back. First of all, but we'll get into that in a moment. I want to talk first of all about yourself. And for those of you who didn't see our prior interview, tell us how you got into the position you are. What drove you to be a golf instructor?
Well, Scott, I started my journey in the golf business in Orlando, Florida at the Grand Cypress Academy of Golf. I worked there 20 years. In 2007, I got hired in Columbus, Ohio at the New Albany Country Club and was the director of instruction there for 12 years. And since then, I have left New Albany, and now I've been at Medallion, the Medallion Club, which is the Nicholas facility here in the north side of Columbus. And I've been the director of instruction there for almost 3 years now. So really excited. Golf season is upon us here in the beautiful 75-degree weather today. So business is really booming.
Absolutely. You know, the obviously the Masters just wrapped up, and you were telling me off camera, and I had remembered part of this tidbit from last time, but you were actually born in Augusta. Is that correct?
That is correct. Fort Gordon, Georgia. My father was in the military. I lived there 6 months. And my mother was pregnant with me, and my father, who was a new golfer, he had taken golf. He played football at Wake Forest, and he had taken golf at Wake Forest University. I actually played with Brian Piccolo. There's a story in my book about that. But anyway, my father just loved Arnold Palmer, and he loved golf, and he wanted to go get a hat at Augusta. So my mother was sitting beside him, and they were in their 67 Falcon, and they drove right through the gate. Dad said the security guard started blowing the whistles and yelling at him and wanted him to stop the car. And so he had to back the car out of there, and they told him that he was not allowed to come in there. So I always tell people I'm the first fetus to ever be kicked out of Augusta.
Great stuff, you know. Transitioning over to, you know, like you said, you're an instructor. Have you taught any PGA pros?
Yes. But in 2008, I was on the tour with Bob Sowards. I've worked with Bob for 12 years. A great friend. He's just a great player. He's now, you know, competing on the Champions Tour when he gets a chance to get out the PGA Champions Tour when he's out there. So he's just a great player. But I was with him for 4 PGA Championships, and also I taught in 2007 Tiffany Tavee at the Women's U.S. Open in Pinehurst. So that was those are the 5 majors that I've had an opportunity to teach in.
Didn't you also have some sort of story with Tiger Woods?
Yes, years ago when I was teaching at Grand Cypress, I had a student who showed up for the lesson, and they were from I believe it was I can't remember, I think it was Brazil, and he showed up. He had never taken a golf lesson before, and as he was taking the lesson, Tiger Woods was out on our range hitting balls. Tiger was there to film a commercial, and so he was warming up. Now this is 7:30 in the morning, and it was the day after he had just won the U.S. Open at Bethpage Black. And so I'm sitting there looking at him thinking to myself, I can't believe he's out there hitting balls at 7:30 in the morning. But he was there to film the commercial, and my student was just standing there enamored with Tiger, and Tiger was the only person on the range, and my student was behind him. And as he was warming up more, the student kept moving closer to Tiger, and I had to go over there and you know, introduce myself. And I introduced myself, and he said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I come to America to take my first lesson, and look who's here, Tiger Woods. And I said, well, he usually shows up for all my lessons. And Tiger turned around and gave me that $1,000,000 smile. And I pulled my student away from him and went and taught the lesson. And then that's all he talked about the entire lesson was Tiger Woods. So he said, I'm going to go home and call all of my friends at home and tell them. And he went home and called all of his friends. And I was driving the next day to lunch, and he was driving in the golf cart, and he cut me off and stopped me, and his wife was with him. And he goes, you tell my wife I saw Tiger Woods. And I said, yes, yes, he did see Tiger. So even his own wife didn't believe that his first golf lesson, he got to be there with Tiger Woods.
What a memory, huh? What a memory,
yes.
for sure.
Yes.
All right, we're going to transition from golf over to some other stuff, which is dear to your heart, of course, there, John. You know, as far as and as long as I've known you, which is at least 10 years, your faith in God has played a major role in your career and in your life in general. Can you explain how that has led to your first book, and then you said you're coming out with another one too? So another
That's
reason
correct.
why I wanted you to come on and talk a little bit about that too.
Well, I found in life that when you turn your life over to Jesus Christ, and when you turn your life over to the Lord, God will reveal what he wants you to do with your life and your true purpose. And I always dreamt as a child that I was going to be a PGA Tour player. That was my dream as a child. And then as I got into teaching, it was all about teaching the game of golf. But when I rededicated my life to the Lord in around 2011, 2012, during that time frame, God started opening other doors that I didn't expect, and that was to be a writer. God has led me to write this book, Golf is My Life, Glorifying God Through the Game. It's been out. It's published in 2016. And keep in mind, I had no thoughts of ever writing a book. I never dreamt of writing a book. I never had a teacher tell me, John, you have a great gift for writing. You should be a writer. So it was truly, for the first time in my life, God allowed me to hit rock bottom in my personal life. And then by rededicating my life to the Lord, he was able to show me parts of myself that I didn't even know I had. And writing is my connection to God. When I write, I feel connected to God. And so after the book was published, I became senior editor for Golf Tips Magazine, and I have an article that's called Fairways to Heaven. And Fairways to Heaven is the same way I write my book. Is every article starts with scripture, tells a golf story, and tells a life story. I want to show how scripture and golf and life are all related. So that's the whole premise of the way I teach, and how I write, not how I teach, but how I write. And so by setting my articles in that format, after a while, I started realizing, well, if I put all these articles together, I've got another book. So I'm pretty much done with it. I've got a couple more stories and a couple more chapters to write, but I feel really good about it, and I hope to have it out sometime next year.
Oh, okay, excellent. So look forward to that. I read your first book from cover to cover. I couldn't put it down. It was truly, truly amazing and inspirational, not just for myself, but I could see it, for others reading the book. You really put all your energy and effort and life experience into that. And it's felt. It's really, truly felt from there. So congratulations on your, matter of fact, I'm a little proud to say, I'm going to brag here, I'm the first outlet to tell folks that do know you that you're coming out with a second book, and look forward to reading that. And like you said, you also do write for Golf Digest, is it? Or
Golf Tips Magazine.
Golf Tips Magazine. So certainly you want to check that out as well, because John, you've written some really good stuff already. I've read some of those tips as well. I've taken a lesson from you too, and it's helped. Although I should get another lesson after so long. Well, I tell you what, where else can I wanted to bring you on and promote that, and certainly if you would like to pitch or tell people where they can find you. Maybe they want a golf lesson, maybe they want to buy your book, or maybe they want to read your tips through the magazine. So how can they get access to you there, John?
Well, the best way is to go on my website. It's deckergolf.com, and I have all of my videos. I have almost 200 golf videos up there. I have information about my book. I haven't posted anything about my second book, but I have articles from Golf Tips Magazine. That information is on there. You can follow me on social media on Facebook Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And I spell my first name Jon, so it's Jon Decker. And as far as the book goes, you can order the book on Amazon. The book now is also in Audible form. So last year we put the book out in Audible form. I'm really excited about that. It came out a lot different when you hear it versus writing it and reading it. So I was really excited about that. So the Amazon Audible, if you like to listen to your books, and it's also available at Barnes and Noble, Walmart.com, or other outlets where you can order the book. And I do have a Bible study as well, and I do public speaking. So if you have a golf venue or golf tournament, and maybe it's church related or something that's you're trying to fundraisers, I can come in and do speaking engagements at golf clinics, and also do some instruction as well. And I'm going to also start offering online instruction for those that can't get to the Columbus, Ohio area. You can reach me through my website and with online instruction as well.
Excellent, excellent stuff, John. Well, thank you so much. I know you got a lesson to go to in 15 minutes, so get you in and get you out to help you out there. All right, well, we'll talk again soon, certainly after I'll have you back on when your second book comes out and releases. So we'll talk about that. As always, you got it, John. As always, that wraps up this week's Whether or Not podcast, sponsored by Ford. As always, God bless, be well, stay safe, and we will talk again next week.